Roblox has been one of the most popular gaming platforms for a long time now, with players constantly coming back to play the newest, most popular games and find new experiences to, well, experience. But what happens to those games that disappeared off the front page? The games that dropped off so that others could take their spots? In this video, I want to talk about games that were plastered over the front page but subsequently fell off. I want to talk about the Roblox games that didn't just die, but seem to have been completely forgotten from the general public. Games that don't have a legacy in this ever-changing platform. Design It is a game that dominated the popular category, with it often having thousands of players, and let me remind you, this is a time when the most popular game on Roblox had around 10,000 concurrent players. Design It had a simple premise. In the game, you are given a theme and have to create an outfit relating to the theme around. For example, if the theme is Western, then you would have to dress up in a Westernly way. However, when dressing up, you have a strict budget that if you go over, you have to remove items or you don't get to compete in the round. Some items cost a lot more in-game money to wear than others. This is meant to encourage you to play the game more, as the more you play, the more money you'll get. And while the game was popular enough to be featured in a total of 4 official Roblox events, with one of them even being the Egg Hunt, its popularity would fade as these events led to a lot of people only viewing Design It as a quest. Especially in the Egg Hunt. As for the entire event, the game was littered with the same outfit as people were trying to get the egg instead of actually playing the game, which made it take a hit to its player base who just wanted to design and judge others' outfits. Another reason that Design It lost players was how its competition kept changing with the times while Design It stagnated. For example, the money feature felt restricting to new players and sometimes unfair, as they weren't given the same opportunities as people who had an easy access to every item. As well as the way that the main GUI also felt restricting, as it wasn't very engaging visually, which is why competition like Fashion Famous were able to beat Design It in the long run, as Fashion Famous let the players walk around and find which items they thought suited the theme the best, also showed them what their competition looked like throughout the timer and had the same items available for all players, resulting in a match which was based off how well people could pair together their clothing to a theme, not just rounds where those who played more had an upper hand. The final reason Design It ultimately flopped is how it refused to add items from UGC. Right now, Roblox itself has for the most part stopped creating accessories, and while they might create something new rarely, UGC completely dominates the Roblox catalog. Other competition realized this and integrated UGC clothing into their catalogs, however, Design It didn't. This results in all the items looking dated, as it only consists of classic Roblox-made pre-2020 items, and while I'm not saying classic Roblox items look old, I am saying that they are definitely not the newest trends that a dressing up game would want to utilize. Overall, Design It failed to give audiences a reason to pick their game over others like it, resulting in its slow but gradual fade into obscurity. Now, it doesn't even make the top 17 dress-up games on Roblox list. It's beaten by Pet Simulator. Game Dev Life is a game that was heavily popularized by the late 2016, early 2017 trend of the game YouTuber's Life. Game Dev Life is the Roblox version of this that was also popularized by YouTubers creating a lot of videos about them playing the game. In this game, you run a game developing business where you create a game and see how well it does based off the options you picked for your games. The more your company grows, the more choices you can have for games, such as making it online or choosing what consoles you want your game to be available on. The game definitely feels a little janky, considering how confusing it is that you have to send out physical copies of your game and how slow the process of game making is. It can make it feel like you have to wait 10 minutes before being able to actually play the game again. When Game Dev Life was at its most popular, it cost 150 Robux to play. And while Robux locked games, especially ones in alpha that don't want to release an unfinished product, can be really helpful, an unintentional negative side effect of this is that most people who want to play the game won't be able to actually play it as they cannot afford it. By the time the game did release for free in late 2021, the hype surrounding the game died, as the reason it was popular were from videos made 4 years earlier. While Game Dev Life never topped the most popular charts, it was common to see it floating around the front page, and the people that did buy it kept playing as updates were fairly common and shaked up the game's core gameplay quite often. This level of popularity allowed Game Dev Life to get its own Roblox toy set. However, as time went on, players stopped playing as much. Not only from the slowing down of updates over time after 2018, but also the fad Game Dev Life originated from, YouTuber's life, had ended. People moved on to the next big thing on Roblox, and the game faded into obscurity. Game Dev Life's main issue was that it was built off a trend, and very rarely do games that capitalize on the hype of a trend outlive that trend itself. Game Dev Life is no exception to this rule, as now you can rarely see its player count hit the double digits. The Plaza was a really popular Roblox game that gained a lot of traction as a role-playing game where you could build your own apartment. Much like all the biggest games on Roblox at the time, such as Meep City and Row Citizens, the Plaza was unique in its own way by its use of gambling. This game is focused around a plaza that contains many activities to do. You can buy animals, rent a condo, and play slot machines. All these activities put the plaza on the Roblox front page, and by its creative design based off a Gmod map, there was really no way that it could fail. However, at the time there was heavy discussion on whether the plaza was a safe game to play, as the plaza was linked very strongly by the great online dating discourse that was happening around this time. This led to backlash against those who played the plaza, as it was viewed as an inappropriate game to play, especially with its area, the club, which was heavily viewed as a place dominated by people trying to date online. Not to mention how the game openly had a casino where you could play slot machines in Plaza Jack, which is just Blackjack Plaza-ified. This whole area used to work as an actual casino, however after Roblox cracked down on gambling, the casino was changed to be less like a casino, where you could spin a slot machine a certain amount of times a day for free. Both of these factors led to a decline in the Plaza's reputation, and as Widgeon, the creator of the Plaza, moved on to other projects, this resulted in a gradual decline in players. People got bored quickly from the lack of updates and moved on to other roleplay games. The game now is at a point of no return, with it averaging around 7 players. And while the creator Widgeon has tried creating sequels to the Plaza, being the Plaza 2 now deleted and the Plaza X respectively, neither of them have exited beta and there is little to no demand for these games. While the map design of the Plaza is questionable as it was based off the Gmod map, The Tower, this game was very popular for all of 2016, yet it didn't manage to make a long-lasting impact on the roleplay genre as a whole due to its disappearance over time. Treelands is one of those games that is created from someone very well known still today, as the creator Newfissy is one of the main developers of Adopt Me. Treelands also is one of the only games on this list that still has somewhat of a legacy, as it was one of the most popular paid Roblox games as it cost 25 Robux to play. The people who did purchase it still very much enjoy playing the game, with a whopping 8 players active to this day. When you first join Treelands, you are given quests to hunt down and sell a specific number of permanent fruit in the game. Depending on what fruit you collect, you will obtain a harvester for that fruit. And after that, it's all up to you. You get to choose if you want to decorate your treehouse or optimize the amount of money you can get, and sometimes you get to do both of those things at the same time. The game very much lets you control what you do and encourages exploration around the map, as exploring leads to finding new fruits to collect and drives the player to continue playing in the hopes of finding potentially rarer and rarer fruit. Unlike most games, the reason Treelands died is because of a death that happened behind the scenes. This is revealed in a Reddit post by Newfissy, where he states that the death that happened really affected everyone working on Treelands, and eventually it spiraled into the workplace itself, becoming very unhealthy and toxic for everyone. After being abandoned for good reason, the player base slowly dwindled, leading to it fading into obscurity. However, there is still a very small dedicated player base around the game that is very passionate about Treelands, as the game has simple yet effective gameplay that still holds up 7 years after the last update was released. Overall, the legacy of Treelands is mostly self-contained in the bubble of the game itself. However, every now and then someone will mention or reminisce on the game, meaning while Treelands is not fully forgotten yet, its future is not looking to be bright. Blamo is a Roblox game made by the developer Kevin, who has created other games still incredibly well known, such as Robot 64 and Cleaning Simulator. They have a very distinct style in the games that they create, with Blamo being Kevin's first big hit on the platform. In Blamo, you play as an undisclosed creature that explores little pocket worlds with unique locations, characters, and secrets. Every world is connected by a train station, and whenever a new train arrives, you are taken to a new location to explore. This cycle goes on infinitely and only ends if you leave the game. The main reason the game got popular in the first place is because big YouTubers saw the uniqueness in this game and created videos calling Blamo the weirdest game on Roblox, which in turn brought a lot of people in to play it themselves, and led to the game quickly gaining players and being put as one of the first games on the featured category. Although the game's growth was incredibly rapid, it failed to actually keep all the players joining the game. This is because it was viewed mostly as a fad, something that people would talk about briefly due to its novelty, but once the novelty wore off, there wasn't really anything to do in the game. Sure, players could visit every location and talk to every NPC, but that wasn't all that interesting with the general public, which led to the game quickly falling off. Another problem Blamo faced is it was more of a showcase for how different from the norm Roblox could look, rather than an actual game people wanted to play after looking at it, as the game's gameplay consisted of mainly just walking. This led to no replayability value, as once players left and rejoined the game, they could be put in a completely new server that's going over the locations that they've already explored. This slow gameplay, mixed with the fact the whole game was quickly losing traction, led to a game that inevitably failed to form a long-lasting reputation. However, the game's art style did help normalize these more surrealist games that Kevin would later produce. So although Blamo didn't manage to leave a lasting impact, it did manage to clear the path for the other, much better games produced by Kevin to come in and leave a lasting impression. Incursion is one of those games that never took off as hard as others, with its main source of publicity coming down to a Roblox tweet. But with that being said, the game was a fairly popular humans vs. alien round-based game that needed at least 2 players for the game to start. Which is ironic now, as the average amount of people playing this game at any given time is 0. The game splits you up into either 2 teams. There are the humans, whose main goal is to survive until the rescue arrives, and the aliens, who are meant to try to kill all the humans before they are able to be rescued. Although simple in premise, the game does a good job adding onto this concept, with there being hunger, thirst, and tiredness stats that negatively affect you if they run too low, as well as an imposter, with one of the aliens being able to disguise themselves as a human. As Incursion for the most part had a niche audience, the game stopped being updated as the game's creative group Secondhand Studios shifted their focus onto creating a different game, Retail Tycoon 2, which was the best choice as Retail Tycoon 2 still has a pretty large player base and has way more active users. Unfortunately for Incursion, this led to its audience shifting away from the game, as over time less and less people played until the servers couldn't fill up, and as Incursion is a round-based multiplayer experience, the remaining people who wanted to play couldn't, as there needed to be at least 2 players to start and way more to actually have a solid round. In the end, Incursion's multiplayer functionality led it to die hardest of all games here, as a group would be needed in order to start a round, and in a game that can rarely, if ever, hold 1 player in its current state asks for 8 to 16 players in order to have a proper round, it only further speeds up its death. Catalog Heaven is a game on Roblox where you can try on any item in the Roblox catalog, with only a few exceptions. The game is updated somewhat often to feature the newest Roblox items, and in the game, it includes the price of the item to see if you want to buy it for yourself. This game used to be at the top of the popular page with thousands of players a day, but has fallen off in recent years. The game's main purpose is being able to test out accessories on your Roblox character. You can see what you would want to look like before you have to commit to spending all that Robux. Interestingly though, you cannot try on clothes in this game. Catalog Heaven also allows you to fight others with the gear in the Roblox catalog. However, in most servers nobody is fighting each other, which often leads to just one person alone in the battlegrounds. Even when the game was incredibly popular, this lack of people willing to fight was still an issue for those who mainly wanted to test their gears. Catalog Heaven slowly died off after the release of the try on button on Roblox, as a decent amount of the people playing at that time were mostly looking for a specific item that they thought would look good on them, rather than creating an outfit. As people couldn't try on clothes, and after Roblox allowed you to try on items before buying them, a lot of people didn't feel the need to play Catalog Heaven anymore. Another reason the game died was because of how split the player base was. While most people wanted to simply try on clothes, there were people who mainly wanted to fight each other with the Roblox gears. However, when the game locked the best gears behind a paywall, a lot of the fighting people just moved to other games where the whole server would participate and they wouldn't have to pay 5,001 Robux for the best gears. Over time, the people who wanted to try on clothes also moved away from Catalog Heaven, as there were newer, bigger games that people could use now to customize their avatar more in depth. Catalog Heaven's main GUI can also be a little confusing to get the hang of, as well as the fact that Catalog Heaven doesn't allow for you to try on clothes or newest UGC, which made it so that most casual users migrated to other games that could update with the newest items faster than Catalog Heaven could, such as Catalog Avatar Creator, Catalog Outfit Creator, Outfit Avatar Editor, Outfit Creator Editor, I don't know. Anyways, Catalog Heaven has been on the brink of a full-on death for now a long time, but it seems like nobody is noticing as so many games that have the exact same premise as Catalog Heaven are still big on the platform, which are able to replace Catalog Heaven in mostly every way. Mega Challenge is a game on Roblox that really drew a lot of people in, as the game prioritized itself on its difficulty and challenged the players to beat the game's levels, with obstacles such as giant fists or jump boost platforms that really took the audience by storm when it first came out. Mega Challenge was developed by someone very well known back on Roblox. Whistly, the main developer of the still very popular game Death Run, heavily promoted the game as one of the toughest challenges on Roblox, saying things like it's the craziest obby in Roblox history, or that it's the most insane obstacle course race. This intense build-up led to a lot of big YouTubers getting interested in the game, as it kept promoting these enormous promises. The game features 16 levels, each used to teach you about the mechanics inside the game, as well as a monthly Mega Challenge, which has the leaderboard for the fastest times and is the main focal point of the game. A lot of people found this game's style and gameplay to be very charming, but the game did have a skill barrier for a lot of casual players, as the game came out at a time where there was an influx of new people onto the platform. A lot of them found the game to be too hard, and the group of people who found the game too easy didn't have enough content to stick around, as the main drawing point of the game, the Mega Challenge, only updated once every month. Due to the player count quickly diminishing, the creator Whistly decided that instead of updating Mega Challenge more frequently, it would be wiser to work on his other, much more successful game Death Run. This has led to the game basically being abandoned and slightly broken as the fists don't lower and raise properly, and the last time the Mega Challenge changed was in February. Whether that was this year's or years before it is currently unknown. Now the Mega Challenge is forgotten on Roblox as people have moved on to better, more challenging games that can change and update much more frequently, such as the Tower of Hell, and in turn Mega Challenge has faded into obscurity, with very little participating in its obstacle courses. Roblox has so many games on it that the majority are bound to be forgotten. But these 8 games show that it doesn't matter how big of a game you are, you can still disappear off the platform, as irrelevancy does not discriminate. How many of these games did you play? How many did you remember before this video? And how many of these games are you mad that they made it onto the list? Leave your answers in the comments. With that being said, have a lovely day.